In 2013, my family moved to a rough neighborhood in Mobile, Alabama. The decision wasn't easy, but my brother was a promising football player, and my mother believed that following a well-known coach to a new school would open doors for his future. My cousin, who also played football, made the same move. To ensure his eligibility, my uncle rented a small apartment in the area. However, the apartment was barely furnished, and they spent most of their time at our house. The house itself was old, with the distinct scent of aged carpet and lingering Chanel No. 5, the kind of smell you'd expect from an elderly woman's home. We had rented it from an older lady, and while it was affordable, it was also cramped. There were only 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, yet on any given day, the house held my parents, my 3 siblings, my cousin, and occasionally, my uncle. To make things even more crowded, my uncle's boxer stayed with us full-time, since the apartment didn't allow pets. Despite the tight living conditions, we managed. After all, we only planned to stay for a year. I was about 7 or 8 years old at the time, but I remember everything vividly. I've always had an issue with old-looking fabric, so instead of sleeping in my designated room, I chose to sleep on the couch in the living room. It was relatively new, and that made me feel more comfortable. Above the couch was a window with many blinds, always shut, offering me a sense of privacy. I never imagined that would be where my nightmare would begin. One night, as usual, I fell asleep with the TV on, playing recorded episodes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Something about having the familiar voices in the background made it easier to sleep. At some point in the night, I stirred awake. I lazily looked at the TV screen before rolling over to go back to sleep. That's when I saw them, 2 eyes, staring right at me through the gaps in the blinds. For a moment, I couldn't process what I was seeing. My breath caught in my throat. The eyes weren't just peering in, they were locked onto me, studying me. I was too scared to move at first, paralyzed by the overwhelming fear creeping through my body. Then, as if my brain finally caught up with my instincts, I screamed. I bolted from the couch, running straight to my parents' bedroom in tears. My dad, a bodybuilder and an imposing figure, woke up instantly. Without hesitation, he grabbed something, maybe a bat, maybe just his sheer presence was enough, and rushed outside. But when he got there, no one was around. He checked the side of the house, the backyard, even down the street, but the man was gone. My parents tried to calm me down, reassuring me that it was probably my imagination. But I knew what I saw. Those eyes were real. From that night on, I refused to sleep on that couch again. Instead, I squeezed into one of the bedrooms, even if it meant sleeping on the floor. No one mentioned the incident again, and for a while, things seemed to return to normal. But then, one night, everything changed. My brother, exhausted from football practice, fell asleep on that very couch. He had no fear of the window, no belief in the story I had told. That night, at around 2 in the morning, he shook me awake, his face pale. "What exactly did you see that night?" he asked, his voice tense. I described the 2 eyes staring through the blinds, how they seemed to be watching me, how terrified I had been. My brother swallowed hard and nodded. "I saw them too." We ran to wake up our parents. This time, they didn't brush us off. My dad immediately went outside again, searching the perimeter of the house. This time he found something, massive footprints in the dirt beneath the window. It was undeniable now. Someone had been watching us. We lived in a dangerous area, so my parents assumed it was just a peeping Tom. We never called the cops. My dad was a light sleeper and always ready to protect us. That was enough reassurance for my mom. My brother came up with a simple but effective solution. He adjusted the blinds so that they pointed upward instead of downward. This way, any gaps in the blinds would show only the ceiling, not the inside of the house. It seemed to work. We didn't see anything unusual for a while, and the tension in the house slowly faded. But then, something far worse happened. One night, we were all out at a birthday party, staying out later than usual. I had left the TV on, the same way I did every night. When we arrived home, the sight that greeted us sent chills down my spine. The house was a mess, furniture was knocked over, my backpack had been rummaged through, my homework shredded into pieces. The pages of a library book I had borrowed were torn apart. The front door showed scratch marks. Our uncle's boxer had clearly tried to claw his way at something on the other side. At the back door, the frame was splintered, as if someone had tried to pry it open with a crowbar. Whoever had broken in wasn't just after valuables, they had been looking for something, or someone. Me and my brother. That realization made my stomach drop. The intruder had only ever seen us, the two of us who had slept on that couch. We never found out who it was or what they truly wanted. We didn't stay long enough to find out. Soon after, my parents made the decision to move back to our old home in a much safer area. Nothing like that ever happened again. To this day, I don't know who that man was, or why he was watching us. I thank God every day that we weren't home that night. But sometimes, late at night, I wonder, if we hadn't left, would we have disappeared like my shredded homework? Would I have been just another missing child, another unsolved case? I'll never know. But I'll never forget.